folks, and welcome to Pilates. We're going to start on the floor, so we'll come down and we're going to start on our backs as we get to lie down. I'll just take some nice deep breaths in and out to start with. So every breath in, we're trying to just expand the rib cage, and then as we breath out, breathe out, allow the rib cage to drop back down again. We'll take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to take the arms overhead. But if you can, I'd like to interlace your fingers, and we're going to reach the hands as far away from the top of the head as possible, point the toes, making ourselves as long as we can. And again, we'll just focus on those deep breaths for a moment. And we'll take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, we'll release the arms. Release that stretch. We'll bring the arms down to around shoulder height. And we're going to bring a little bit of movement through the neck, so just can gently lower the head to the right, looking out over the shoulder. And ease back up to the centre. We'll do the same, taking the head out to the left, looking out over the left shoulder. We'll just do this a few times to each side, just bring that gentle bit of movement through the neck. Last time to each shoulder. And bring the head gently back up to the centre. Here I like to bend the legs, we bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Keep the arms where they are, keep the shoulders pinned to the ground. We'll just gently lower the knees to the right, take them as low to the floor as we can. We'll ease back up to the centre and over to the left. So we gently just take the knees from side to side, keeping the shoulders down so we can focus on that nice bit of movement through our hips and through the back of the body. And if the movement's feeling good today and you want to add that little extra in, the next time we drop the knees to the right, we can try and take the left knee up towards the right shoulder. Do the same as you lower the knees to the left, right knee towards the left shoulder, but if that feels too much, don't worry, just taking the knees gently from side to side. And one more time to each side. And then we'll hold back to the center. Here we'll lift the legs, we'll just take hold of the shins, drawing the knees in towards us and bring a little bit of movement through the ankles. Pointing and flexing the feet. And we'll add a few circles into the ankles too. Excuse me. Excuse me again. So we just circle those ankles one way, circle the feet one way. Then we'll change direction, circle the feet the other way. And unfortunately, guys, my microphone died at this point. So you've got me talking over afterwards. And so we've brought those feet back to the center now. We can relax them. We'll bring the feet down to the floor. And we want to make sure we keep a nice strong core brace. Here we want to make sure the back's not going to lift off the floor. We're also not forcing it down into the ground. So we need to tense those muscles, keep that strong brace. And we're going to a slow leg lift. Lifting the legs, bring the shins close to parallel to the floor, and then slowly bringing them back down, maintaining that strong brace, maintaining those nice deep breaths in and out the whole time. And remember, if at any point you need to, you can stop, you can rest. We even have the option to go for a single leg lift as well if we need to, keeping one foot on the floor, lifting the other one, bring the shin close to parallel, lowering back down, and then alternating to the other side. That's good, we've got a couple to go. Last one. Actually, there's one more. And then we'll bring those feet gently back down to the floor. Here we're going to come into some crunches, so we'll place the hands on the thighs. We're going to crunch up, sliding our ribs down towards the hips, creating that flexion through the back of the body, lifting the chest off the floor, and like I said, just taking the fingertips as far towards the knees as we can. Now we also want to look after the neck, so we're not tucking the chin all the way into the chest, we're trying to keep the spine in a nice neutral position, so we're just looking up to the ceiling a little bit in front of us. And then, like I said, we crunch up, sliding the ribs towards the hips, taking the fingertips towards the knees. We can take a hand or two to the back of the neck if we need to for a bit of support. But if we do that, we're still not pulling with the arms, because again, if we pull with the arms, that could strain the neck and we don't want to do that. That's good. We got a few more to go. and then we can rest. Then here we want to make sure we take the feet hip width apart. So they're not too wide, they're not too narrow. Feet are in line with the hips. We want to bring the heels as close to under the knees as we feel we can. We'll take the arms down by our sides, palms of our hands facing the ceiling. We're going to squeeze through the back of the body, lifting the hips as high off the floor as we can. So we really want to squeeze through the bum, the back of the legs, lifting the hips as high off the floor as you feel you can. Holding for those few seconds at the top before we slowly lower back down to the floor. Now every time we lift, we want to focus on that squeeze, focus on those deep breaths. We want to make sure the hips stay nice and level. And we want to maintain that squeeze to the back of the body as we hold at the top. And then we gently lower back down to the floor. Every time we lift, we make sure we hold for those few seconds, really concentrating on the squeeze, on the deep breaths. So we have a couple more reps to go. Again, just every time we lift, really focus on that squeeze to the whole back of the body, as well as those deep breaths. And then we can have a little bit of a release here. And then I like to straighten one leg. We're going to keep the other one bent, and we want the foot kind of in line with the knee, or as close to the knee as we can. We're then going to lift the straight leg slightly off the floor, as well as the bent leg as well, keeping that foot in line with the knee. As we do this as well, we're going to slide the ribs towards the hip slightly, where we can either take hold of our shin, and if that feels enough, we're going to hold it there. And we're gently just going to start to rock our weight backwards and forwards while maintaining that bit of a crunch position through the abs. Now if this feels okay, we do have a couple of options. We can release the bent leg, taking the arms out, still rocking backwards and forwards, or if we feel we can straighten the bent leg, still keeping those ribs towards the hips, keeping that tension to the core. And extra option, if you really feel you can, we can take the arms overhead. But again, if that feels too much, we can bring the arms back towards the sides. We're not here for too long. And we can have a release. We can hug our knees in towards us, maybe have a gentle rock from side to side, if that feels comfortable. Then we're going to take our hands to the back of our thighs, where we'll gently rock and roll, bringing ourselves either to a seated position, or if that doesn't feel comfortable, gently bring yourself to a seated position. But if it feels comfortable too, we'll build up that momentum. Once we feel we have enough, we can release the thighs, either come into our seated position, or if we feel we can, to a squat.
but it really doesn't matter which one, because from either we'll come around onto all fours. So we'll bring the hands down, we'll take the legs back, and here we're setting up with the hands roughly under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We want to keep that nice straight line through the back of the body. I like to extend the right leg out behind you, and we're just trying to take it as close to parallel to the floor as we can. We don't want to lift too high because we want to keep the hips nice and level. And then if we feel we can, we're going to lift the opposite arm. So we'll lift the left arm, don't take the right arm up, because if you do, we have a tendency to topple over. So opposite arm and leg. And then we're going to draw the knee as close in towards the chest as we can. If we've lifted the arm, we'll bring the elbow in too. As we do this, we can round through the back, sliding the ribs towards the hips, creating that tension through the core. We hold as close in towards the chest as we can. And then we're going to extend back out again. And we're going to repeat this a couple of times. And if at any point you need to, you can bring that hand back down to the floor. That's good. Last one on this side. And then we'll reset. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to extend the left leg out behind us this time. Again, trying to keep those hips nice and level. And leg just close to parallel to the floor. If we can, we'll lift the right arm. But again, if that feels too much, bring the hand back down to the floor. And we bring the knee and elbow in, hold in there. And we'll extend back out. And then we draw back in. And again, every time we draw in, we'll just bring them as close in towards the chest as we can, holding it there for those few seconds before we extend back out again. Last one. And we can reset to the floor. We can have a little release if we want to. We can sink our hips back towards our heels. Release the arms out in front of you. And then from here, I like to come down onto your front. And we're going to set up with the elbows under the shoulders, forearms down across the floor. Now there's a couple of options. We can either keep the knees down for this bit. And when I tell you to, we're going to drive the forearms into the floor, lifting the hips off the ground, coming into our plank position, drawing the abs in, squeezing the glutes. And we'll hold here for a few seconds, and then I'll ask you to lower back down. Or if it feels okay too, we're going to tuck the toes under. We can lift the knees, still driving the forearms into the floor, drawing the abs in, keeping that squeeze to the glutes every time we lift. And we're going to do 10 of these where we'll lift and hold, and then going to range in length of time. So we lift and hold for the first one. Remember to keep breathing, draw the abs in, squeeze the glutes. And then we'll lower back down. And we'll lift again. Hold it there. And then we can lower. We'll lift and hold. And then we'll lower back down. We'll go again. Lift and hold, draw those abs in, squeeze the glutes, keep breathing. Then we'll lower back down. We'll go again. Holding it there. And we'll lower. Let's lift again, holding it there. And back down. Lift again. And we'll lower. Lift and hold. And down. We'll lift again. And we'll lower. Lift again, hold it there. Keep that squeeze. And then we can lower. And we can release, so we can push our hips back towards the heels again, release the arms out in front of us. And that was the last bit of hard work for today's class. So I hope you've enjoyed this Pilates class. If you have any questions, please drop me a message, leave me a comment below. Please like the video. But yeah, hope you guys keeping well, take care, and I'll see you all very, very soon.